Listen to me. You don't let me out of here, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna take your life if you don't let me out of here, okay? If you don't let me out of here, I'm gonna kill you.
I beg your honor, the harshest sentence imposed to the coward, the murderer, stability and of an entire family.
That's why I killed him. Take him out, Judge? Can I like a baby?
Joshua Jones, who's appearing for a bond hearing in South Carolina.
Do you want to be screened for an attorney?
Care.
Mr. Jones.
According to reports on January 28, 2012, Officer Sandy Rogers responded to a call about a suspicious vehicle in Eustis Park. Jones, who was in the vehicle, allegedly shot and killed her. Jones had reportedly fled into the park after murdering his pregnant girlfriend Casey Vice at their apartment in Augusta. He was arrested and charged with murder and possession of a firearm while committing a felony. As the judge read the proceedings at his bond hearing, Jones appeared disturbed and disorientated.
If you do not understand the law that you're charged under, I'll be glad to explain the law to you. You have a charge of possession of a weapon during a violent crime and also a charge of murder.
First, he seemed to respond to the judge's questions.
Do you understand the charge of possession of a weapon during a violent crime? On that charge, if you're found guilty, it can carry a sentence of up to 5 years and/or a fine in the discretion of the court. Do you understand the law pertaining to murder?
But when the judge asked if he could afford a lawyer, Jones snapped.
Do you have the income to hire an attorney on your own?
Does it look like it?
I don't know, sir. I don't have any idea.
First, he refused the lawyer, then proceeded to growl and make hissing noises at the judge.
Do you want me to screen you for an attorney?
No.
Can I hire your own?
I don't need one.
Do you want to be screened for an attorney?
I don't care.
Mr.
Jones.
Jones kept shaking his head and snapping his teeth like crazy. Ultimately, a public defender was appointed to represent him.
I am going to pre-qualify you for a court-appointed attorney. Someone from the public defender's office will come over and speak with you about your case.
Jones eventually pleaded guilty, but mentally ill. A psychiatrist testified and diagnosed him as schizophrenic. Due to his significant mental health history, Jones avoided the death penalty. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
The possibility is that you will not be able to bond out.
Joshua Jones's wild expressions certainly aren't for the faint-hearted. But how does it compare to hailing Hitler in court?
One day, my spirit will rise from my grave and you all know that I will.
Like in the case of Frazier Glenn Cross, a white supremacist accused of murdering 3 people in Kansas.
But I do apologize for those who died. Thought they were Jews. I wouldn't have shot them otherwise.
As reports on April 13, 2014, Cross, a former member of the Ku Klux Klan, shot and killed 3 people at a Jewish site in Overland Park.
Do you recall saying that the Jews will remember my name?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
His victims were 69-year-old William Corpin, his 14-year-old grandson Wright Underwood, 53-year-old Terry Lano. Police showed up quickly and took Cross into custody. One of the officers caught the whole thing on his body cam.
One of them captured this dash cam video. Take a look. It shows Frazier Glenn Cross being arrested by Overland Park police. You can see he's surrounded by several officers.
He said Cross asked for a celebratory whiskey after the shootings. He was even heard screaming Nazi slogans out of the back of the police car. In court, the prosecutor said that Cross was proud of his actions and did not have any regret.
To decide the fate of a man whom the evidence shows to be a proud and remorseless killer who regrets only that he did not kill more people.
He also pointed out that Cross was a known racist, as some of his interviews back in 2006.
The only thing I ain't figured out is whether to hate all you Jews or just the Zionists. That's the only thing I ain't. And I hate you. You're a Jew and I hate you.
And when the prosecutor questioned him about his motives, Cross lost his cool.
So really this is about you being infamous is why you did it.
No. Are you kidding? Are you kidding me?
Cross, who was representing himself, shockingly said that God knew what he did was right and moral.
If there is a God up there, God, you know that what I did and what's in my heart is righteous, is honorable, is moral. And therefore, God, you will reward me.
He also called his son to the stand, where he said that Cross was a good father, but their beliefs did not match in any way.
I think, for the most part, I had a good father, belief system, which nobody in our family really agreed with him so much on that.
But it was when he was denied by the judge to enter certain website articles as evidence. Cross exploded.
Just get the hell out of here, go back to myself. And wait for phase 2 if you're not going to give me a fair trial. You won't even answer a simple question. What the hell's the matter with you?
The judge gave him a warning. Cross was having none of it.
This is your warning, sir. If you're going to proceed in this manner, you will be removed from the court.
Cross also had some choice words for the jury before they gave their verdict.
I fear you'll take the easy way out, the safe way out. But if you do, your conscience will torment you the rest of your life.
As the prosecutor also addressed the jury,
He wants to be king. He wants to bring down edicts. He wants to be the one who decides who lives and who dies.
eventually they found Cross guilty, but he remained defiant.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty.
At his sentencing, Cross admitted he shot the victims because he thought they were Jews. They were not.
But I do apologize for those who died. I thought they were Jews. I wouldn't have shot them otherwise.
He was ultimately sentenced to death by lethal injection.
I find from the review of the entirety of the evidence presented in this trial that the jury's verdict should be and is affirmed. And for your conviction for capital murder, you will be transported to the Kansas Department of Corrections to carry out the sentence of death by lethal injection as provided. One day, my spirit will rise from my grave, and you all know that I was lying. I'll hit them.
Cross later died in 2021 while on death row at the age of 80. While Frazier Cross's anti-Semitic rants were truly shocking, how do they compare to the ghastly appearance of our next convict? This is Esteban Carpio, a suspect in the murder of a cop in Providence, Rhode Island.
And convicted of killing a Providence police detective with his own service weapon, is going to federal court to try and get a new trial.
According to reports on April 7, 2005, Carpio was brought into questioning for stabbing 85-year-old Meline G in a robbery gone wrong. During his interrogation at the Providence Police Headquarters, a detective left the room to get some water. Carpio alone, with Detective Sergeant James Allen seizing the opportunity. Carpio overpowered Detective Allen, grabbed his surface gun, and shot him twice before jumping from a 3-story window and fleeing the car.
Carpio had asked for water. The two detectives that were in there with him, one left to get the water. Tragically, heard Detective Allen say, "I think he's going to kill me." By the time they broke it down, the officer was dying, and Carpio had jumped out the window.
The whole police force jumped into action and a large manhunt ensued. Carpio's freedom was short-lived. He was arrested within the next hour.
Esteban Carpio is found and taken into custody nearly an hour after his bold escape.
Sadly, Detective Allen later died at the hospital.
Jimmy Allen passed in the noblest way possible. He gave his life trying to make our lives safer.
And we've lost a remarkable man today.
The next day, when Carpio appeared at his arraignment, the whole courtroom was left stunned. His whole face was swollen, and he was made to wear a spit mask. Carp family members were shocked to see his condition.
Step off.
They accused the authorities of police brutality.
Gross police brutality. He was mentally ill and he needed help and we couldn't get him and he didn't deserve this.
FBI investigation concluded that police did not use excessive force and Carpio's injuries were from his attempted escape and subsequent arrest.
There's no civil rights violation Injuries are incident to arrest, meaning if he's fighting the police officers, the officers have the right to use whatever force necessary to subdue the subject.
As the trial went on, Carpio's defense argued on the grounds of insanity, but prosecution witnesses said that
the murder of my husband was a cold and deliberate action. The jury found that Esteban Carpio was not insane at the time of the crime.
Ultimately the jury rejected his plea and found Carpio guilty at his sentencing. Carpio took the stand where he said he regretted his actions.
Every day I face the facts of what I did and what happened.
Eventually Carpio was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder plus an additional 20 years for the assault on Meline Gata. While Esteban Carpio's horrific appearance left the whole courtroom shocked, how does it compare to having a complete meltdown in court? Like in the case of Blanca Regalado, who's facing attempted murder charges in Florida. As per reports, 53-year-old Regalado stabbed her husband 6 times at their apartment at 1800 North Bayshore Drive in Miami. Police said Regalado confessed that she stabbed her husband because she was tired of him.
She did make spontaneous statements to our officers that she's tired of him, so she stabbed him, and he's a drunk.
And when she learned her husband would make a full recovery, her response was, "No, I want him dead." At her bond hearing, the judge read out the charges.
Good morning. You're being charged with attempted felony murder.
Due to the severity of the crime, Regalado was denied bond. This is when she lost.
No bond.
Me tengo que ir a la cárcel así. Pero mi marido me pegó. Si él es el que me rompió la pierna. Por favor, my husband broke my leg. Please, no, don't do that, Mom. No, please, don't do that. Don't do that. No, please, no.
Time Regalado appeared calm as the judge addressed her hands.
My husband broke my leg.
She repeatedly pleaded with the judge but got little reaction. Eventually Regalado was escorted out of the courtroom. Next day she was back in court again. This time Regalado appeared calm as the judge addressed her. Her hands were shaking, but she seemed sober and apologetic.
I want you to listen. Don't say anything, just listen. Okay?
Regal's attorney argued that this was a bondable offense.
Your Honor, to my knowledge, that is a bondable offense, and to my knowledge, there's a standard bond of $10,000 for that charge.
As to the request for bond, it is denied. The defendant remains with no bond.
The judge was having none. Eventually Regalado was denied bonding again and was sent back to prison. Although Blanca Regalado's meltdown was quite stunning, how does it compare to head-looking an officer in court?
Let me go.
Like in the case of Latasha Williams, who's facing child endangerment and kidnapping charges for threatening 2 kids in a Las Vegas apartment complex. Today she's at the Clark County District Court for a mental competency hearing. Throughout the hearing, a visibly agitated Williams kept interrupting Judge.
Dr. Sussman said that I was competent to stand trial. Dr. Sussman, you know. No, hold on a second. I'm not done talking.
Eventually, Judge Glass sent her back to prison, Maine.
Is she abandoned in custody? And I got kids and let me go. I got kids and responsibilities. Y'all, let me go. No, let me go. Let me go. Let me go.
Rez come on. As court officers tried to escort her out of the courtroom, Williams resisted. At one point, she catapulted herself into the air and wrapped her legs around an officer's neck.
Let me go. Let me go. Let me go.
Judge Glass pressed the emergency button and called for backup. Eventually, it took 4 officers to restrain Williams. She was not done, overpowered and on the ground. Williams continued with her rant. Get my saint. Judge Glass later said this was the biggest meltdown she had ever seen in a courtroom.
This is probably one of the biggest meltdowns I've seen. It takes 3 marshals to help secure her to the floor and try and get her to calm down.
While Latasha Williams got the comforts of home to rant.